Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5:30 Monday, October 8th, 2018, and I'm calling the meeting of the City Council of the City of Paris, Texas to order. First order will be the invocation, followed by Pastor Seal, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone stand, please.
Would you pray with me? Most gracious Father, Master of the universe, we come to you thanking you so much for this time together. We thank you for the rain you've sent our way. We thank you for the opportunity to be called your children because of what your Son has done for us. We pray for your blessings upon this meeting tonight and upon everyone participating in it. And Lord, we pray that everything that is said here and done here will bring honor and glory to you. For it's in your Christ, your Son's name that we pray. And all God's people said, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You were just waiting, weren't you? All right, next item is a citizens forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for citizens forum. The citizens forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council, please come forward. And seeing no one, the citizens forum is now closed. Brings us to the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any council member wishes to pull for additional discussion? And I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the first item on the regular agenda is discuss the Tool Design Group memorandum.
Mayor and Council, I won't go through this in a lot of detail, but I do want to hit just a few of the highlights. The memorandum pretty much tracks what was presented at various meetings by the Tool Design Group when they were in town in June and again in August. The big things are eliminating all the one-way streets. Mm-hmm. We kind of started that process a long time ago, but we can't do that with state highways. First, Grand, Bonham, Lamar, Clarksville, all of those, Maine, are all state highways. And so in order to do that, the TxDOT either needs to agree to do that completely with their existing streets or need to take some or all of those streets off of the state system. Specifically, they've suggested that First Street and Grand would probably be taken off the state highway system, and those would become city streets, and at that point we could make them, whatever we want to do. To do that, then Main Street would become a two-way street, and Lamar would become a two-way street, and Clarksville would become two-way streets. And those become the highways, and so if those are the highways, then TxDOT does not need those other two streets. And so that gives us the responsibility to pay for those and take care of those, but also gives us the ability to be flexible with those. The other big thing is the plaza itself. We've talked before about widening sidewalks and widening the plaza. This is a really grand plan as far as the size of the plaza. It would expand it 20 feet in every direction. So 40 feet total from one side to the other. Also expand the sidewalks additional 6 feet out so that you cut the 3 lanes plus angle parking to 2 lanes only of through traffic, 1 in each direction, of course. You actually have 4 lanes of traffic, obviously 2 on each side, going 2 in each direction. Then you also have a gutter that would be separating the parking from the through lanes, and then you have parallel parking instead of angle parking on both sides. So a majority of the additional space would be taken up by grass and trees and bushes and landscaping and so forth and so on. So a dramatic different look and feel. It would slow traffic down. It would make it much more walkable. It would make it much more safer to walk across the street at any speed, because right now you're walking across 3 lanes of traffic plus 2 very large parking spaces that you have to get across. It's a long ways to go, especially if you have kids and so forth. The other part of that that goes along with that is the elimination of the traffic signals themselves. We talked to TxDOT about that years ago, the possibility of converting those to stop signs. You may recall even at one time we had a little experiment. We shut down the the traffic signal at First Street, right over here, for about a couple of months, and we just gave up because it was causing too much confusion and so forth. But if you take all of those traffic signals, you could replace all of those with four-way stops, or I started to say, or three-way stops. There would be no three-way stops, but all of them with four-way stops. It would slow traffic down, which is what we're after. That's what you need to have. You need to have, again, same thing, slow traffic. It can still be very efficient, and the tool group was able to show that in a really good fashion to TxDOT, make them, I think, believers. There's also a good bit of work that's expected to be done at the Market Square Library area. That's another area we've talked about before, and it's a real hard nut to crack because, again, it's a state highway. We forget sometimes that First Southwest is a state highway. So we can't do a whole lot. We can't do some of the crosswalks, some of the expansions and so forth we like to do with the library and also with Market Square. We'll continue to work on those in the meantime. The other thing I want to mention here is that this transition so far, TxDOT has been very open and amenable, and even at the end of that last meeting said they thought it was a good idea, which is a huge bit of progress that the tool group has made. But it doesn't happen that easily. We recently got a kind of a tentative schedule from TxDOT. How long would it take to get rid of the lights? How long would it take to do the construction related to the signals, not lights, and changing the two ways and so forth and so on. And that was 18 to 24 months. So that's a long process. And that sounds, my gut reaction is always, that's ridiculous. But you have to remember, TxDOT's responsible for millions and millions of miles, lane miles of roads, and so this is just one of many. And they have a whole lot, even just here in the local Paris district office, area office. So it's a big thing. We think it'll have a huge impact. Our next step is to ask you to include this in the comp plan that you'll hopefully adopt here in a few minutes, or if not in a couple of weeks, but hopefully in a few minutes. And then that'll make it officially part of our overall downtown plan. Once that's done, we will begin, we already have, we've begun putting together an implementation plan. And basically it's a 10-year implementation plan because it's a long-term project. We will decide, what can be done now, what can be done in a few years, we'll have to wait several years on. From that, we'll develop cost. That'll be in the millions of dollars, frankly, to do all of those things, well. We want to do all of them well. We have to be patient. And then once we have a tentative schedule and estimated cost, from that we'll develop how to pay for it. And that will be from CDBG money, from TxDOT money, from the creation of a TIF or a TERS, maybe some other fees and so forth and so on that'll help pay for that. So it's a really long-term project, and so I don't want to put any down on it because it's a really exciting project. If it takes 10 years to do everything on this list, at the end of 10 years we will have an incredible downtown. And as I told my staff that they will be scoffing at Sulphur Springs because they will be so inferior to us if we do all of this. And I look forward to being here in 10 years just to see that happen. So I'll be happy to have answer any questions you have or try to provide you any more information. Oh, and if I may, I don't know that anybody's here, but this project was huge because almost 90% of it was paid for by private funds. People, businesses, and individuals in the community feel like downtown is so important that they contributed $80,000 to hire these folks and to get this plan done. We would have never been able to do that by ourselves, and so that's just a huge thing. I want to make sure that I thank them publicly for that huge donation to the community. And that kind of support makes you feel like it's probably going to happen too, because you've got that kind of support.
Anyone have any questions?
I did have one question about the, if the downtown, the loop or the plaza area is going to go two ways and have stop signs at the corners, all the corners in the every block, I would assume.
Correct.
I remember there was some discussion with the tool group about having other roads, like, I don't know if they're not called feeder roads, but outside the loop or outside the plaza, downtown proper, that we could use for thoroughfares to get from one side, from the north to the south and from the east to the west, without having to zoom through the plaza area. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do kind of. There's on the north side of the plaza, people can go across town by using Pine Bluff and Grand, for example.
Correct.
We're in the process of, not Grand, Graham. We're in the process of doing some work on Graham, literally today, I think.
Okay, and I think on the
thumbs
south
up.
side, from east to west, Washington would be a good.
Yeah, the problem with Washington was, and they talk about this, is it's not a straight line. It does this through town. And to some extent, that's okay. You know, you
Right.
don't want people to cut through. People who live in that area, you want them to be able to get across town. But
Right.
people that live on the other side of town, you want them to use that loop to go to Walmart, because that's why they built the loop.
Yes.
And so they can get from one end of the town to the other just about as fast,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't be going through down. We want people to go to downtown because they want to be,
To be there as a destination.
not because it's a shortcut to get to Walmart or to get to Hugo or wherever they're going.
Right, right, okay. And
assume-
hopefully that will also take care of the, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
Hopefully that will also take care of the truck traffic that
It should help it,
loses its way.
it should help it
and
dramatically.
gets-
City engineers also working with FHWA and TxDOT to get better signage on that right now. I know I saw a letter just a week and a half ago or so. So that'll help. And then also the fact that you've got 2-lane roads, no truck's going to want to go through there on purpose. You still might get some that get lost, and a few of them have to go to downtown. Of course, that's
Right.
legal for them to get
Of
to businesses.
course,
But-
of course.
But now some of them almost certainly are cutting through on purpose, and we want to make that as inconvenient for them as possible.
Thank you.
I was in Sulphur Springs last Friday. They have a steak cook-off downtown, and of course their downtown is complete now, where they've went through the tool design group, and it's the pride that they show down there, and the people, and the buildings, and I'm extremely excited that Paris has decided to do it.
unbelievable, isn't it?
It's we're not all going to agree on how we're going to do it, or what it's supposed to look like. At the end of the day, just refreshing downtown is going to be really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like what they're doing over the farmer's market in that area there, the amphitheater they were planning.
Yep.
Assuming things go the way they're predicted with TxDOT, what's the time frame on when the one-ways will go away?
About 18 months.
So that's the point at which,
Right.
so 18 months from
Right.
right now, if everything
yeah,
goes,
if
that's
everything
when
goes
it'll
well.
happen?
Yeah.
And that's all the one-ways in,
That's the
All
that's
of
the
them.
state highways, and of course the only street we haven't changed of our own so far is West Third, and we talked about that and decided not to do it. So we'll probably bring that back to you sometime in the near future too. So
well, it looks like an excellent plan. And any other questions or comments about it?
The thing that I liked so much about it was the process.
yeah,
They invited everybody, and not only did they invite everybody, but everybody came.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody
a
participated.
lot of enthusiastic people who wanted to share, who care about downtown.
Yes.
They're extremely good at what they do, and they have a really good reputation for a reason. So we were lucky to get them, and again, thanks to the
We were.
people who helped pay
The
their bill.
underwriters, exactly.
No action on this.
No, sir.
We'll include this in the next item. Okay, item number 10, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance approving and adopting an updated comprehensive plan, rescinding all prior comprehensive plans or parts thereof in conflict therewith, and making other findings and providing related to the subject, providing a repeal clause, a severability clause, a savings clause, a penalty clause, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I regret that Alan isn't here to give this presentation to you tonight, but I'll do my best. As you know, over the course of this year, staff has prepared an update to the comprehensive plan, which is the guiding document for our community's growth and development. It addresses land use, transportation needs, parks and connectivity, as well as other elements that I'm sorry, I lost my place, that shape the characteristics of our community. The current adopted version was prepared by BWR in 2001, and there were minor updates to the future land use plan in 2008. But our plan is 17 years old, and so it's time for an update. The 2018 comprehensive plan update is an abbreviated plan that highlights portions of the 2001 plan that were either out of date due to land use changes or were not implemented. There are recommendations from the 2001 that were never implemented. In addition to the written document, updates have been made to the future land use map, the master thoroughfare plan, the parks plan, and the trails and linkages map. We've included the tool design group downtown visioning plan as a reference to the comp plan update. And the draft plan was first presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council on August 20th in a joint work session. And then again, we held a public hearing. The first public hearing was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in September 18th. I'm losing my place. After that meeting, the plan was available in the City Hall Annex, in the Public Library, and also on the website for public review and comment. We didn't receive any feedback from those, from having that in those places or from the public hearing at Planning and Zoning. The only feedback we did receive was from Earl Erickson, and it was regarding the Trails and Linkages map. He recommended that we add bike lanes and/or sidewalks on on Collegiate Drive from Love Civic Center to the Northeast Loop, and also on South Main from the trail connection to downtown. Staff recommends that we incorporate those into the final adoption of the plan. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the 2018 plan update, and at this time we're ready to hold the second public hearing, and given any feedback from the council or the public, recommend adoption of the 2018 comprehensive plan update. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any comments.
Okay, want to open the public hearing, and then we'll have the discussion after that. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to discuss this, please come forward.
Hello, good evening. Apologize for my attire. I just flew in as fast as I could and I travel casually. My name is James O'Brien. I noticed I missed at the beginning of the meeting where the Planning and Zoning had passed the CPU update. Is that correct? On the agenda, and item number 6, was it? 5, 6?
Yeah, that was in the consent agenda.
Right.
Well, no. I'm sorry, which one?
Do you have
I don't see it on the agenda. Approve the
the,
minutes.
number 6, reports or minutes from the following boards, commissions,
Okay.
Planning and Zoning, and it
Gotcha,
talks
yep.
about,
Yep,
is that correct?
yep.
Did
you're
it say in there what the margin was that it was passed by? It was 5-0. There was one non-vote there, and that was my vote. Okay, and I wanted to express my support for the CPU 28 and explain why I had a no vote. Okay, I have thoroughly read the update, and I have participated in the downtown meeting, the planning, and I am all for it. But my one reservation that I have is that even though the comprehensive plan update is not ordinances, it will require ordinances in order to implement. Is that correct? Y'all think you can agree to that? It will require some ordinances, right?
Very likely.
And it will require review of the ordinances we have. For example, what good is some of the ordinances that we have now with parking, et cetera, if it doesn't allow access to the downtown? So we need to review those. Another thing that I wanted to touch on, an example is in Addison, or in Irving, in Dallas, they have an ordinance that they had to revise for homeowners where they can no longer park in front of their homes. Their own homes, they cannot park in front of them during a certain time frame because of the AT&T Center. That business pushed an ordinance upon those residences, and that's something that we need to keep in mind here. And the main reason is money. Okay, we already mentioned that we had a lot of private funding for this downtown. And the ordinances as they're written now may not always be interpreted and executed in the intent and spirit in which they are written. And we need to keep that in mind as we move forward with this comprehensive plan update, and that some of these ordinances may discourage the positiveness in which we want to move the city, and not just the downtown, but with everything we're trying to do with the city, and not discourage public involvement and private donations. And I'll take any questions you may have.
I'm in complete agreement that as the need to pass ordinances goes, we need to address each and every one of them very carefully and make sure they don't have unintended consequences. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, is our comprehensive plan not a fluid document that can be used as a starting place and we can update it?
It's
and adjust?
non-binding. It's a strong suggestion, as I understand.
Okay.
That we agree we're going to try our best to follow, but I'm sure Alan would be the first to say it's not a hard and fast rule that each and every decision will have to be made by planning and zoning and the council on
And we
an
do
individual
have
basis.
public hearings before we have such ordinance, so I think that might alleviate some of your concerns.
That's my hope, and my other hope is that before we take this on, as exciting as ordinances are, it's like a mouthful of saltines, unsalted saltines, that maybe we stop for a little bit and maybe put a committee together, or maybe take some extra time and review what we already have in place. I may think there may be some conflict there.
Okay. All right.
Y'all knew I was coming up here.
Mayor, could you close the public hearing?
I just wanted to say, Chad Lindsay, 1050 Southeast 29th, that I'm in favor of this plan. I think the staff's done a fantastic job. But one thing that they pointed out repeatedly to us is that the plan that was updated was a pretty solid plan, but after it was made, it was often forgotten about. And that's not you guys. We're talking councils of the past, because, of course, we always like to blame the councils of the past, don't we? So as a Planning and Zoning Commission member, and I hope as a council, we've sort of verbally committed to say, you know what, going forward, we're going to remember this, we're going to look at this, we're going to base what we do on this plan, and I hope that the council will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address council on the comprehensive plan? The public hearing is now closed. Open it up for discussion on the council. Anyone have anything to bring up?
I just echo what Mr. Lindsay said, that, thank you for dusting it off. And as I have lived this last year and a half on the council, I have seen that you have actually implemented some things and updated some things with the assistance of your staff, and that's very encouraging. And I'm just not sure yet on what we do to make some updates or some concerns. I guess we direct them to you, and I have a few, but I won't do that now. Okay. But thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? I think Alan and city staff has done an excellent job on this. We did have an older plan. I agree. We need to make sure we follow it and keep it in mind whenever we're making decisions. And I also agree with Dr. O'Brien. We need to make sure that we do it correctly and make sure that everyone's informed and everyone that all the things that this will entail meet everybody's satisfaction as we proceed along this journey. I'll entertain a motion on this.
Make a motion.
Make a
I'll
motion.
second.
All in favor of accepting this comprehensive plan? Okay. Item number 11, discuss and act on meeting dates for November and December. I understand we're thinking about canceling a couple of meetings.
That's right. Normally, you all cancel the second meetings in November and December due to holidays and scheduling for everyone, and we're asking you to do that as well again this year.
Sounds good to me.
I'll make the motion.
I guess.
This is make up for all those extra meetings we had in September.
I
Okay.
lost count of them, actually.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Linda, Clayton,
what are the dates? We're canceling the meetings on what two dates?
November the 26th and December the 24th.
I make a motion that we cancel the meetings on those two dates that Janice just mentioned.
A second.
All in favor? Okay. And the next item is Ms. Knox's item, discuss and act on requiring entities that receive tax dollars through contract ordinance with the city of Paris that they hold their meetings open to the public during times when the public is more likely to attend, but no earlier than 4:00 p.m. You want to discuss this for us?
Sure. And this is not for all entities. I apologize for the vagueness of this particular description, but this is mainly for the two entities that receive a significant part of their budget from tax dollars, and that would be the Chambers Visitors and Convention Council and Civic Center and the Paris Economic Development Corporation. Now, the Chamber of Commerce has historically met in a very consistent time and very consistent date, and the Paris Economic Development Corporation has been kind of adjusting their meetings around a little bit. And I think that it would be incumbent that we require that these entities meet at a time when the public can attend, since they do receive significant tax dollars, and the public is able to attend. regardless of whether the public does attend or not is irrelevant, but they need to have access to these meetings. And I picked 4 o'clock, no earlier than 4 o'clock, because if somebody's working and they have an issue that they would like to present to either of the entities, that they could perhaps take their lunch break later on in the day if their business is such that they are not allowed to take off. They can switch their lunch break to 4 o'clock and then spend the rest of their day with the entity. I think that these entities do very important work, and not only is it very important, but it's also fascinating. And sometimes if the public isn't, they have a difficult time understanding the nature of the work. So if they can attend the meetings, they feel part of it and probably get some questions answered and are understanding more of what the entities do with the significant tax dollars that they get. And that was the basis for this, a little more consistency and at a time during which the public can attend.
Yeah, on a personal note, I'm ex officio to being mayor. I'm ex officio on the PEDC, and I can't make very many of the meetings. But when they have their meetings, it would benefit me. I'd be able to make more of the meetings if we could have them then. I end up missing most of them, unfortunately.
And this isn't a complaint. This isn't that somebody did something wrong. But I too have had a little bit of a challenge getting to a meeting because. Sometimes it's met at early, sometimes it's late, sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there, and I do realize that that the meetings are posted, and it's a matter of public record, and everybody's doing everything right. It's just sometimes it's difficult to find out where and when, and this does not include special meetings that have to come up at the last minute where you need to have a vote from your membership. This doesn't include that. This only pertains to the monthly business meeting of the commission or the council that the committee manages. This doesn't take into consideration anything special, spur-of-the-moment thing that might come up with an industry where you have to have consensus from the commission. So that's what this is all about.
Okay. Mr. Pilgrim, you have any comments on this?
I can agree. I was worried, in my opinion, the if there's an executive session that needs to be held on an industry, if it needs to be at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, I think they need to be able to do that.
Sure.
No matter
I
what.
agree completely.
But
yeah.
normal business meeting on the month, I can agree with after 4 o'clock. I don't see an issue with that. I mean, Mr. Parrish might get him to
Okay.
chime in on this.
Ms. Stone, we'll finish with that. Do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, consistency with the monthly meeting, because I want to start getting involved in this better for me, because I can take off an hour and leave an hour early to be at the meeting. So consistency is it's just good practice.
Okay. Ms. Hughes, got a comment?
As long as the wordage in it states that it's not pertaining to special meetings.
Okay. Okay.
Because things come up to where you do have to have that special meeting.
All right.
So as long as it's worded correctly, I'm fine with it.
Exactly. And also executive committee meetings are closed.
Yeah, they're
You know,
closed
it's
anyway,
only
so
to yes,
it wouldn't really
exactly.
matter. Yeah.
Exactly.
Any other comments? Mr. Parrish, you have anything you want to say? Or
Michael Paris, Executive Director for the PEDC. The EDC has been fully transparent in its meetings, and we have been open to the public. We do publish our meetings 72 hours in advance, and we do publish our minutes. And so if the public wants to know information or if they want to prepare for a meeting we have upcoming, the public has access to that. Yes, I encourage the flexibility of scheduling. At the same time, I agree with you. I think the consistency of these meetings need to take place. We have been practicing we've been practicing where the board members, when the best time that they can meet so we can get together. Sometimes these meetings last an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on how long we're able to put that agenda together. So for example, next week, the chamber has an event that's going to be taking place Tuesday night. We typically hold our meetings at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, the third Tuesday of the month, but we had to move it back to 3 o'clock because we got some agenda items and we wanted to be prepared to go to the chamber event. That's the little flexibility that we're looking for. I think I understand your concern. I think if you give us good faith that we're going to continue meet on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock at the third Tuesday of each month, we pursue that. We pursue that due diligence. But again, I just request for flexibility, and that's my only 2 cents in this matter. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
You have a motion?
Would you like for me to make a motion?
Make a motion. if you have-
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that I move to require entities that receive large sums of tax dollars comprising the majority of their budget hold their regular meetings open to the public during times when the public is more likely to attend, no earlier than 4 o'clock PM.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor? Raise your hand. All opposed? Okay. Passes 3-2.
3-2.
Item number 12, item number 13, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff. Any future events? All right. And I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Let's do it.
Who seconded it?